Districts that I know that have actually done that. One was the one in Minnesota, and one in Princeton, New Jersey, and that was a more recent one. So I don't know if you've been able to find anything on that one, but you
I
might be
haven't
able
found
to.
anything on that, but I'll research that more. All right, so I have the questions
Okay.
here.
You get to ask me questions.
Yes, I did. This is nice. I like this. Okay, so can you start off with your name and occupation?
I'm Steve Howard. I'm a licensed clinical social worker.
Okay. What is the minimum amount of hours of sleep the average teen should get?
Probably 9.5 to 10.5 hours of sleep a night.
And what happens when they don't get that?
What happens when they don't get that is that they don't get, well, two things actually. One, you don't repair the neural damage you do to yourself every day just by normal functioning. And the second thing is that you impede the development of the neural networks that have to be getting done while you're in adolescence.
So it's bad on the brain to not sleep.
It's bad on the brain. It's very bad on the brain, and you can see physical changes that occur in the brain over time with that, which is something that we've only been able to see in the past decade, really.
So it's still being researched, correct?
It's still being researched. Sleep is really, in a lot of ways, a big mystery for us. We know we have to do it, but why we do it, and what happens when we're doing it is still very much unknown.
How do you feel about the time that most schools start? It's around like 7:30.
It's a horrible time of the day for any human being, you know, and for an adult, it's kind of an okay time because we're wired to be up at that time. We wake up with the sunlight, but for adolescents, it's a really awful time because it's like the time of day that's you're in your last. Your brain thinks you should be in your last stages of sleep, and the school is saying no, you need to be in class. And so consequently, what you see in a lot of first-hour classes is what?
Heads down sleeping.
Heads down sleeping, because their brain is telling them, I don't care about the clock on the wall, because our brains don't run on a clock, at least not one that you can hang on the wall. They run on a clock that's built into the brain. And you can't get a healthy pregnancy done in less than 9 months, and you can't get a healthy sleep in for an adolescent in less than 9.5 hours.
So you said that the last couple hours are like the last stages of sleep. What happens during those last stages of sleep?
Well, it's the same thing that's happening. I think, I'm not a sleep expert, so I forget exactly the different processes you go through, but there's about 4 to 5 cycles that you go through, and they're the same thing each time. And so if you wake up in the wrong part of that cycle, it's like walking out at the wrong part of a movie. You don't get the ending, and the brain is saying, wait a minute, I'm not ready to go. It's like, it's like you're packing your car for a trip, and you leave half your clothes on the bed, and you don't zip the suitcase up, and you just go running out of the house with everything falling out. And it just sets you up to be in the wrong state of awareness. So when you wake up, if you wake somebody up in the middle of the night, if you wake your mom or your dad up in the middle of the night, and you say, let's go out dancing right now, what are they going to do?
No, go back to bed.
They're going to say, no, go back to bed. And if you wake yourself up at 6 o'clock in the morning, what is your brain telling you to do?
Go
back to bed. And when your parent wakes you up at 6 o'clock in the morning, what are you telling them to do? It's this kind of alarm that gets set off in your brain saying, this isn't the right time. This is not, I don't want to do this. And you want them to leave. And it sets up anxiety and anger. And that's two of the biggest things that you see with sleep deprivation are anxiety and anger increasing, irritability and short-tempered feelings. It's a good form of torture.
It is. I know I'm angry when I get woken up. So how does fatigue and sleep deprivation influence students' ability to learn?
A huge impact. I think in this study they talk about the differences they saw in grades, but in general, in a very short period of time, once people are sleeping better, you see large increases in people's ability to concentrate and in test results. Sitting down to read a book when you're half asleep is not a good thing to be doing. It's not going to work very well. Mood is greatly affected. Concentration is greatly affected.